to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
Welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode number 82, and with the curtain pulled back on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022, we're barreling straight ahead towards that release date and consequently towards the release of Warzone 2, which we're getting more and more info about as the seconds tick by. But just when we thought, we're looking too far into the distance, gazing over the horizon, all of these massive changes are now coming down the pipeline for current Warzone because we are only days away from the launching of Vanguard Season 4. That's right, 4 seasons into Vanguard. So a lot for us to dive into this week, needless to say. But before we get into a lot of that riffraff, let's turn to the 10-inch cowboy and ask the cowboy, because I'm curious to hear, and I'm sure our listeners are, how was your week after getting shit on last week, it sounds like, this week in the Warzone?
Oh, well, wow. So much things to talk about that I'm completely in the dark on. To be totally honest here, I was on vacation last week. I was in Europe. I was not playing the game as much as I thought. I was checking my cell phone, seeing the updates on crazy new releases and shit that's going to be coming out, and like map updates or new maps and all this stuff that I'm sure we're going to talk about. But I didn't fucking play for 1 minute last week. I took a break. I needed to reset my head, so I went internationally to I did that for my gameplay basically. So now I'm hoping to get back enthused, ready to go. So no, I didn't play at all. My week in the Warzone was non-existent. I did not enter the Warzone. So this week is going to be a week in which, because typically I'm the one that's presenting the information. I know the cutting edge shit that's going on. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to let Tron this week lead with announcements and breaking material. So we're going to a little role reversal. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to hand it to Tron because it sounds like you probably got in the Warzone with me this week. How was your week in the Warzone?
Wow, so selfless, so kind, offering up the mantle of bringer of knowledge to me this week.
You're welcome.
Before I give my thoughts, though, I got to ask you, let me rephrase my question then. How was the week away from the Warzone? Did you find you were having some perhaps withdrawals? Did you find like your life is better off without it? Where are you at?
Oh, definitely not better off without it.
Okay.
I definitely found myself thinking about it in times I definitely didn't think I would be thinking about it, which was, I guess, a testament to my passion for the game. I don't know what else to say. But we were gonna I saw in the group thread there. You guys hopped on, played a little bit this morning. I thought about doing it, and then I need more than just a minute, I think, to get back into it. I want like a big session to like get back into the zone because I'm sure I'll be frustrated, and I want to just spend some time dialing it in. And also, I don't even know are there weapons updates? I haven't played in like a week. Shit changes so rapidly. I need to, I want to allow you to take the stage and explain where we are at in the current game framing so I can then step in fully informed, which is what we do here on the Warzone Amateur Hour, bringing you the amateur perspective on how to play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's always what we do here. But you talk about setting aside some time to get back in, get into the thick of it. It's kind of like you're going to be dumped in the deep end of the pool here because you're going to be showing up to a brand new season, which with it, we're going to go over all this, but brand new like map. First off, brand new weapons, multiple weapons.
Whoa. There's a brand new map?
Clearly, you've been off the reservation there, cowboy.
I've been off the grid. I'm not being, this isn't a joke. You're telling me that we have a new map? Wait, what?
All right. Well, yes, this is going to be an episode of Discovery for if you're out there, you're unaware of what's going on. Listeners, you'll be right alongside the cowboy. But yes, let's just drop into it. Season 4 details dropped this week. But first and foremost, Season 4 is going to be going live here on June 22nd, which is only 2 days after the release of this episode. So enjoy what you got while you can. Enjoy that STG meta. Gotta imagine that's going away. Enjoy fucking Rebirth, because that's going to go on the shelf for a little bit.
What? What?
That's right, Cowboy. They're bringing forth a new map, but in its stead, Rebirth will be stepping back. However, fear not. They have confirmed that they want to ultimately have all 3 maps in rotation, but there will be a short break from Rebirth.
I'm out of town 1 fucking week, and they take Rebirth away from us, and they bring us a new map. I mean, I don't know if I should be leaving town more often, or if I shouldn't, because I don't want to lose Rebirth. I mean, it's kind of overwhelming, to be honest. I was not expecting this at all.
Yeah, I mean, that was 1 week you lost in Rebirth that you will not get back. So better make these next few days count. But yes, indeed, the brand new map, which was kind of out of nowhere. We hadn't heard rumors about it, anything like that. It was teased kind of piece by piece early in the week. We had some accounts from Raven and I think Call of Duty releasing some weird they were sending out cakes to various content creators and streamers that are big in the Call of Duty community, and each cake had like one of the square sections of this map. And so over the course of the day, people were ultimately able to piece together essentially a attack map of this brand new map, which is called Founders Keep. It's going to be launching here in Season 4. It's essentially a new Resurgence map. The big debate over the week was how big is it in relation to Rebirth, and it was kind of hilarious because these fucking numbnuts streamers and content creators couldn't do the conversions, and so there were wildly different interpretations of how big this Founders Keep map is in relation to Rebirth. Turns out it's pretty much roughly the same, maybe a little bit bigger. But the locale is way different. It takes place in the Mediterranean. Once you see some stuff here, Cowboy, you'll know it has a very strong Mediterranean vibe, but they're calling it fast-paced, close quarters map. It's a new Resurgence map. It's dropping with Season 4. But yeah, I can pull up here a page, show you a little bit of a peek action. But that's Founders Keep. What are your thoughts here?
My first thought was, you must have gotten the piece of cake while I was out of town, because I didn't get a bite of that. But obviously, we're such powerful forces in the COD community. I'm assuming that they sent you a piece of cake. If they didn't, be very upset about that for whoever works for Call of Duty that's listening. Actually, don't even answer it. I'm just going to assume we got a piece of cake. Second of all, Mediterranean field, that's exciting. There's always, I'm assuming it's like a coastline. There's always water with these Rebirth maps. What's up with that? What's the island vibe? It's there's always some kind of water barrier, which is fascinating and interesting. Oh, here we go. You're playing me a little trailer. Okay, the vehicles are yellow. Oh, definitely. Well, that looks like Caldera a little bit, no?
A little bit of Caldera vibes, but definitely, I mean, look at these wineries. There's wine caskets and church here. It's a very coastal Mediterranean feel for sure.
Totally. Smuggler's Cove seems okay. Yeah, I mean, this looks cool. I mean, kind of feels like Caldera to me personally, but again, won't knock until I try it. And so that's coming out this Tuesday. This week, we're getting this drop.
Wednesday evening, I think it's going to be, or Thursday. Yeah, this is coming out. As they said, there's 8 ladders, 8 huts, 3 zip lines in one of these areas, 11 boats. They got all this new shit going on. It's going to be a Resurgence map. We haven't heard about any game modes, like new game modes, so I think it's just going to be a purely Fortune's Keep Resurgence will be the playlist when we get on there. In terms of,
just to be clear too, the boats, these aren't drivable boats, because I know in our last last pod we had discussed the boat abilities for the new things that were revealed on Modern Warfare, but I'm assuming these are just boats you can crawl on, like current Rebirth situation.
Crawl, yes. Also walk and run on. But
yes, I mean, you can do anything really, but
not drive. No, I believe no new mechanics in terms of, aquatic vehicles have been introduced, but there'll be boats decorating the coastline that you can loot and check out. As we said, Rebirth's going to be going away for a bit, but we'll be coming back. But for the first time in the history of Warzone, we're going to have 3 maps in rotation. And there's some interesting stuff going on with Caldera, too, that we're going to get to. What do you feel more strongly about? Sad that Rebirth's going away, or excited that you get to check this new guy out?
I'm excited. I mean, we've played Rebirth a lot over the last couple of years. Not that I'm ready to move on from it, but if there's a week or two or three of this, I'm all for it. It's more the mechanic. I love the map, but the mechanic is so important because I die a lot. I suck. I die all the time. So this will be fantastic, and I'm actually really excited about it. I honestly haven't been able to process this yet. Like I need to, dive into some imagery, look at the world building, kind of see what's going on to really feel what's going into this. But I am excited for sure. There's no airplanes, are there? No.
No airplanes.
Okay.
It looks like just helis and redeploy balloons.
Okay. I mean, I'm excited about it. Yeah, we're gonna have a shit ton to talk about next week on the pod too. This is great for the podcast.
Yeah, and the community who've been crying out for new stuff. Again, there's more tweaks coming to Caldera. We're going to talk about that people have kind of been calling out for. So they're not sitting on their laurels, and they're not going to bleed us out here these last few months as we go into Modern Warfare 2 and the new era of Warzone 2. They're certainly upping the stakes, trying to get people back in. You made an interesting point though about the game mode. The resurgence kind of configuration being so important, where I feel like that's kind of been an ongoing debate because they've adapted like resurgence mode to the big maps and it doesn't seem to have the magic. So maybe it just has to be a smaller map. But I think we're really going to be in for a nice compare and contrast here about what's the experience like on Rebirth versus Fortune's Keep. If it's totally different, then we got to start to kind of go back to the idea that like part of Rebirth's magic is it's a fucking good map.
Definitely. It's a good map. I mean, this is a conversation probably for once we get on Fortune's Keep is what it's called. That's kind of a weird name for a map. I have no idea what that means, but unless I'm missing some like background historically with that name. But we got to play it before we have that discussion because, yeah, as you said, like if we get on there and we're like, oh shit, this is really great. I'm digging this. Maybe it isn't necessarily just it's not just a great map, but it's a combination of the two. And maybe, there's a lot of, that'll be a whole nother conversation down the line.
Absolutely. So moving on though, to the big news about Caldera, there's not just additions on a brand new map. There's additions to existing maps. Caldera is getting a boost here from Verdansk. The fan favorite, spiciest area, at least in terms of plunder, was Storage Town. Well, guess what? Storage Town has made its fucking way over from Verdansk to Caldera. So Storage Town, the area that helped define nearly 2 years of Warzone in Verdansk, will see a new life on Caldera when it is added in between the mines, airfield, village, and dig site. It will be roughly as veterans remember it, a sprawling complex of lockers filled with contracts and item spawns, as well as a few warehouses that allow for great views over the area. However, as part of Caldera, Storage Town will be near a steep cliffs in the middle of the island. This additional verticality will add a twist to this fan favorite point of interest, making it more viable rotation point when traveling between the map's western sections. So what do you think there, Cowboy, about this kind of crossover event, we can call it?
It's interesting. I think that Caldera has had a lot of negative energy put its way because of this, like, it's too spread out. There's not enough hiding places. You find yourself just running in the trees and then you're mauled down. Well, what's interesting is if they start adding enough of these new POIs and they're like this, they're bringing in, an old fan favorite and maybe cutting out those kind of nothingless chunks that people criticized, it really does start to maybe change the map. If they continue, I mean, they've been updating the shit out of this map. I mean, this may be a totally different experience than when it was first released. So like maybe notions are changing, like the what you see what I'm saying? I think it's a great idea because if they can eliminate the main thing that people hated about the map, why wouldn't you do that? And bringing back I think that this is a step in the right direction, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, like we talked weeks back, man, great artists steal. Take what you can, improve it the best way you can. If you have some great areas of Verdansk, sure, bring this shit back. There's so much open space in Caldera. It's certainly, you're not going to miss like, oh, this used to be an open field. I just love to fucking run through. Like, no, come on. Let's fill that space with some interesting POIs, allow for some more, kind of combat. And people have been calling out for Verdansk to come back, and they've talked about technically why they can't do it. So this seems kind of like a little bit of a bone for those people too. Like, here's your old familiar Verdansk treats, but in the new backyard we move you to across town.
Yeah, Curious to see how people complain about this one.
Yeah, and we'll see if they start to add more POIs. Maybe like, Promenade's going to come back, in which case you'll fucking bet your ass Tron's dropping into Caldera ASAP.
Oh, God. I mean, when you initially said they're bringing back the one of the hotter drop spots, I thought you were going to say Superstore.
Ooh, there we go. That's an idea. We'll see if more stuff like this is coming down the line. But in addition, that's not the only change. There's some sprawling changes coming to Caldera, which again, before I get into it, I think really reading between the lines, like they're clearly seeing something with Caldera that it's deficient. Like either the player base ain't going there, which we talked about. Maybe that's why they shrunk the lobby size. Well, now they're adding all this stuff. They're clearly trying to entice people to get onto Caldera. I think, that Rebirth Revise or Revamped or Reloaded, wherever the fuck they called it. I think it worked like almost too well. Got so many people hyped on Rebirth that's really where the game's at right now, that they're like, okay, what about Caldera? Hey, we got Storage Town back. Do you agree with that, or what are you thinking on this?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they're for sure trying to revamp Caldera. I mean, but at the same time, they are releasing a brand new map this week. So, and they're taking away Rebirth. Fair. Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. Is this happening this week, this map update with the Storage Town coming to Caldera?
I believe, yeah, with the launch of Season 4, this will be in the game.
I guess that's smart and makes sense because they're trying to diversify the attention when they take away Rebirth. Because if you take away Rebirth, you better damn well have a couple of backup plans if people aren't just happy with Fortune's Keep, or at least they can then go to Caldera and check out the changes, So it makes sense. It seems smart. I think the timing is right. I guess you have to take away Rebirth too, because if you just leave a Rebirth there, then people won't even check out the changes. It's almost like you have to take it away for them to push them to go do the new thing. So what a week. What a fucking week to come back.
Yeah, it's kind of like a carrot and a stick action. Like they're like, oh, getting rid of it, but here, stick around, come check this other stuff out. In the meantime, we'll see if it holds our attention. But as I said, big changes to Caldera in addition. So one of the biggest complaints is there's too much foliage. You can't see fucking shit on the island. Well, I guess they heard that because they have essentially 50%, they're saying, less vegetation and better visibility now on Caldera. So they've gotten rid of 50% of the trees and foliage and stuff.
Wow. Oh, so again, trying to address the major concerns there. Wow. Fucking what a week. That's pretty incredible. I mean, I'm all about that. I'd rather see it this way than not. And it can't be from a developing side of things that hard to just take trees away, It seems like something we should try. Yeah,
no, they clearly are listening. They're clearly, again, trying to revamp. So we'll see if this maybe helps some of the problems that ail Caldera. Although, snipers have been so nerfed, I don't know how that visibility is really going to help out. We
Curious
also don't
to see. I bet you I'm wondering when they introduced Fortune's Keep. That's the name of the new map, right? Fortune's Keep.
Yes.
What a mouthful for a map name. I wonder what the shorthand for that's going to be. Just the Keep or
FK.
FK. Okay, well, you hear it here first. Or the Keep, FK or the Keep. So I wonder what it seems like, the two big criticisms of Caldera obviously was the verticality of it and getting caught with your pants down in the middle of nowhere. And the second being that's really hard to snipe or do longer range interactions because of all the trees and foliage. So I'm wondering if in this new map, they're going to reduce those, if there's going to be less verticality, less mountains, more flat, and then obviously less trees. From the photos I'm seeing, you're showing the tree situation looks a lot more toned down. So I'm wondering if they're trying to find that happy balance.
Yeah, I definitely think, when you look at Verdansk, there was barely any of that. Although the people talk about too, the trees that are on Caldera, they say they're just not big enough. That's part of the problem too, is you can't even hide behind the foliage. It's just kind of either you're among it or you're fucked.
Are there any trees on? Oh, there's a couple of trees by Harbor on Rebirth, but I think those are some of the only trees on that map, right?
Yeah, so
between Harbor and Prison.
Definitely been a long, 4 seasons in. They've each season, I think, made more and more attempts to really reshape Caldera, improve what was pretty raw and not super fun, off the get-go. So we'll see about this. Maybe it makes a big change. But that's not the only new stuff coming. They are introducing some new contracts here. One of them is going to be called, I guess I'm not sure if these are only for Fortune's Keep, but there's a black market run contract, which says get your hands on off-market loot by accepting the new Black Market Run contract, challenging you to reach the Black Market buy station before the timer expires, which sounds exactly like a fucking supply run. But it says spend cash on items not available at normal buy stations or as ground loot, such as a sequencer grenade, the Nebula 5 minigun, Foresight, Specialist, or one of several classified weapons.
That sounds, I mean, it's just, so basically what it is it's a supply run contract, but it unlocks a different loot situation you can purchase from, which is cool. I mean, I'm into that, especially I'm curious if there's going to be like certain very, very valuable items that you can only get from these. Like say, you know, like, I don't even know. Yeah. Like a specialist token will be at this and like shit that maybe is a little, or you could buy individual perks. Maybe that would be really cool.
I'd like this as like a real high reward contract, although I wish they would make it a little more difficult than just go to the buy station that it's at.
Yeah.
Like,
what would be really cool is if they did it and they it chose the buy that was the like with the most people around it, like the highest per capita within like a certain radius. So it's like, yeah, you can go get it, but it's hot as fuck over there, so be careful.
I mean, if it's not clear after 82 episodes that we got some fucking mastermind idea generators, you know, gamists, creators on this podcast here among us, like, look at these ideas, just off the cuff, a fucking brilliant way of improving this contract. I'm with you 100%. Maybe that isn't the game. Wouldn't be surprised if they took like weeks and, you know, hundreds of brain power times to come up with that same idea. But I'm with that. Something like that, I think, would warrant this, because it's like, oh, you're going to get specialists, potentially get foresight. Like, everyone's clearly going to be chasing these fuckers down. And if it's as easy as just getting in a heli and landing on a buy, then why not?
100%. 100%. They got to mix it up. But maybe they're, you know, maybe they are. We don't know.
And maybe it's, like we said, going to be Fortune's Keep only, which it seems like it might. And in which case, maybe the buy situation's super, super hot. So it is kind of a crazy task. Or like the buy, like maybe similar to the recon, like a beacon shoots up so everyone knows what's going on. I don't know. But my question here, though, is it mentioned a sequencer grenade. And I don't know what the fuck is. And I Command F searched the whole patch notes for sequencer grenade. And there's no explanation of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm actually. Did you read that out loud? Was I looking at the photos when you said this? But it says,
it's
yeah,
one of those
sequencer
things
grenade.
I read and you just didn't even fucking listen.
Yeah,
but yeah.
No. I was sorry. I was so engaged with the photographs that you've shared with me.
They also have a Nebula 5 minigun, which that makes sense to me. That's going to be a minigun that fires Nebula 5 rounds. We obviously know what Foresight is. We know what Specialist is. But we don't know what a fucking sequencer grenade is.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a grenade style of weapon or if it's like a special grenade. I don't know, which would be very fascinating if then you could pair it with the resupply tool.
Well, some questions there that don't currently have answers, but you know we will hunt them down. And hopefully if you get experience with the sequencer grenade, please tweet us. Let us know what the hell is going on there. But in addition, there's another new contract, which again seems like it's for Resurgence modes only. It's called Cash Extraction. It says during Resurgence Battle Royale matches, straggling mercenaries will attempt to airlift their cash off Fortune's Keep. You and your squad can ambush the extraction, just follow the flare signal and take out the agents to get their bag of goods, but be on the lookout for enemy operators also looking to steal these mercenaries' riches. Okay, so the extraction from the old Verdansk days coming here to, Resurgence modes.
That's cool. Yeah, well, that's fine. No problem with that.
I mean, I gotta imagine on these small maps, that's a fucking suicide mission there. To me, that seems like that should be the one where you get the cool shit.
Yeah, well, or, I mean, it depends on how much cash you get, but yeah.
So, all right there. So that's it in terms of new contracts. There's also a brand new vehicle, although that's not going to be introduced right away. It's coming later in the season. It is an armored SUV. I have a screenshot up here for you now, Cowboy. It looks literally just like the normal Jeep, except there's a fucking gun mounted on top and it's reinforced a bit. So it says it's an armored SUV. It includes a dedicated rooftop turret seat and room for operators to use their own loadout weapons, making this one mean vehicle that begs to be used in the field.
Sick, cool, yeah.
And it has a fucking nitro boost to give it instant acceleration.
That's kind of Cool, actually. I like that a lot. That'll be fun. Yeah, just boosting it off of a fat cliff.
Wow. Boosting. I mean, remember the old motorcycles on Verdansk? Like, why haven't those come back? I kind of like burning out on those. Give me some of that shit. Give me a nitro boost with that, dude.
Yeah, those were hard to drive initially. I remember having a very hard time with those. Definitely died a lot on those.
So, yes, a new vehicle coming mid-season. In additionally, though, the new kind of functioning thing going on here called ATMs. They said get rich quick by searching out ATMs. This is going to be plunder only, I guess. Throughout the match, funds periodically spawn near ATMs to a maximum holding. Collect these bags of gold for a major cash boost.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, I mean, not that excited about that, but I don't plunder all as much as I should.
Next up, though, is an interesting one, which kind of literally directly mentioned last week. We talked about some new shit coming for Modern Warfare 2, how there's the EMP or DDoS, or, formerly we said EMP functions as it. And I said, oh, back in H1Z1, they had the EMP grenade. Well, guess what? The EMP grenade is now going to be in Warzone. And it describes it basically the same. Disable vehicles and disrupt enemy players and AI. Using the EMP grenade, a non-lethal tool that explodes in a short-lived area of effect. Affected players are stripped of their HUD info while vehicles are momentarily powered down.
Wow, I feel like with these, I like this a lot. It's another tool. I think it's super cool. When you start playing with a quad now, you kind of, I think there's like specialized non-lethals, tactical weapons that you like. Someone's obviously going to be running the snapshot. Someone's going to be like running the EMPs. Someone could be running stuns. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you had like resupply with like your entire team, you guys could be like kind of have a little bit of everything to deal with any situation. Yeah,
I think that's really the space for the tacticals is pretty awesome. Other than I feel like snapshot just kind of dominating that, which I'm now 100% snapshot, like restock, bro. It just continues to be so overpowered, which maybe with the launching of, that's the other side of this coin here with season 4, is we don't yet know what all the weapons tuning is going to be type of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they do. I wish they had these EMPs back on Verdansk back in the early days when everyone was running cars around, because I think it's a real...
And fucking Berthas.
Great point there. Exactly. So we've talked about the strength of this game. It works best when you have like, attack measures and countermeasures, and kind of having that balance and allowing players to play within that. And so I think with vehicles, having it just an EMP grenade, it's a nice little counter there. So I'm gonna check it out.
It'd be really cool is if they had like an EMP launcher where you could shoot an EMP into the sky like very far distances towards like helicopters. You know what I mean? Like and then you could disable them midair, then people had to jump out, then you could fry them. Obviously be tougher to like get it close and hit them, but when you did, you totally disable the helicopter. That'd be so cool.
EMP launcher. We'll see. I mean, we got these sequencer grenades. I don't know. There's clearly room for new shit going on. Maybe it's going to make its way there. We always know Cowboys advocating for launchers, though.
Definitely. We need a buff to all of the rocket launchers in the game. It's a shame that they took out the vehicle seeking launchers for the older Vanguard shit launchers that are now dominating the launcher space. It blows.
Well, speaking of launch, this season 4 upcoming, is going to be launching with some brand new weapons. And the past few, reloadeds and seasons we've talked about, they've maybe introduced one or perhaps two guns, like a melee with it. This season is different. There's going to be some new players taking the stage. Some of them we've never seen the likes before on Warzone. And that's the first one up here is the Marco 5. Which is an SMG that can be used akimbo, which means one in each fucking hand. It looks like an Uzi type of gun here in the screenshot.
Whoa. They better not. That sounds like a ripe recipe for an SMG meta right now.
Yeah, so that's the real question everyone's talking about. Is this going to be like a Diamante situation where these get in there and they just dominate the short range space? We know they've been real focused on not bringing stuff out of whack. So I've seen a lot of people theorizing, like, Warzone loadout out there on Twitter saying, well, it'll probably just be dominant in terms of hip firing and, super close. So they're like kind of replace the PPSH in that space, so to speak. But we've yet to see it's how are you going to balance that? That's what I wonder is like when you have a gun that you can wield in two hands, like how can you even ever make it viable having one hand in it? You know what I mean? Like existentially speaking.
I don't know. Yeah, and also like maybe like with tactical sprint, does it like fuck up like you know? I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. Or if it. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been good with two-handed weapons. I've never been able to figure that out myself. I just like blow it.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. It's kind of like making me think back to when Halo 2 was launching and they introduced dual wielding. Like, is this going to take over the game? Back in that game, they kind of had an interesting balance there. So maybe they'll find the same here. That's the Marco 5. There's no word yet on how you even unlock that thing, but it is coming at launch. In addition, there's a brand new LMG coming, which is the UGM-8. It is described as a high fire rate mobile LMG that excels at creating suppressing fire and pushing enemy positions. It's ideal for players looking to keep pace with their teammates while offering suppressive fire. It chews through ammo, so be prepared to feed it. Boost your ammo capacity with one or several different magazines, or grab fully loaded or the scavenger perk.
Yeah, have you gotten your hands on this bad boy yet? The new UCM? Is it what is it called? The UCM?
That is the UGM-8.
UGM. Have you gotten your hands on that yet? Because I have not.
Well, again, I'm not sure what's going on. But we mentioned at the top of the show, this is season 4, not going live until June 22nd. And seeing as we have not reached that point in time, it is physically impossible for me to have my hands on this.
Dude, I thought the UGM was already released, and I thought that no, this was released. Okay, hang on. Let me do some research here. Let me do my own research.
Okay, Cowboy, the bringer of knowledge, is going to go ahead and do his own research. In the meantime, I'll move on. There's a brand new melee weapon coming out, which nobody gives a shit about, but it's called the Push Dagger. Comes out at launch. It's a blade with a T-shaped grip that allows for increased push power. It's built for speed and stealth. It's a new melee tool, great addition to loadouts where close quarter fights and silent takedowns are critical to mission success. You can unlock it through a bundle or by completing one of 2 challenges. Oh, so here it tells you the fucking challenges for this thing. Get 5 melee kills with the primary weapon in a single match 15 times, or in zombies, get 100 kills with a melee weapon while shrouded by your ether shroud. But it doesn't say how to unlock the UGM or the Marco, so perhaps those are going to be coming as part of the battle pass.
So I was doing some research while you were saying that, and there was a weapon that was released during Season 3 Reloaded, and I'm trying to find what it's called, and I'm still doing my own little research. No, it wasn't the MPK.
MGK or some shit. I don't know, but either way, this is a brand new fucking gun. It's coming in Season 4, Cowboy.
Got it. Okay, maybe this was just announced and Reloaded that it was coming out. I swear. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I mean, this is great radio right now, but no, we'll move on.
Well, this is really going to mess with you here, because this one actually, when you hear it, you're going to say, that got introduced. That's in the game. And you'd kind of be right. But they're introducing a gun. Again, this is now going to be our fourth technically new weapon, but third new gun here. This one is called the Vargo S. As we know, the Vargo.
Now they're just trying to fuck with me.
That's what I'm saying. So as we know, the Vargo was a Black Ops AR. Tron loved it. It was meta for a while. It's still pretty good. I know Spark's still running it, some friends of ours. But now they're introducing, it's going to be, I believe, this is purely Vanguard. It's called the Vargo S. It's an essential armament for versatile play. It's a workhorse assault rifle that offers a high fire rate, steady aim, and a quick reload. And it's that's before adding any of its attachments. You unlock both. Okay, here we go. You unlock both the Marco 5 and the UGM through the battle pass. The Vargo S has to be unlocked in one of 2 ways, through a challenge, but they have not yet said what the challenge is, though. So the Vargo, there's going to be a Vargo now, and a Vargo 52 and a Vargo S.
Great. And they haven't announced how to get it.
No, it sounds like it's coming in Season 2, so not quite on launch here.
Got it.
We'll
Okay,
have to stick with one Vargo for now, because if it's not enough that there's 2 AK-47s. There's a M4A1 and XM4. There's a fucking 2 Car 98s. let's just put in 2 fucking Vargos.
Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. I bet you hate it.
I mean, if it's a dope gun, maybe it'll bring me around, but it's got to depend on that unlock challenge. But if I going by recent trends, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be pushing me towards fucking Vanguard, which I'm staying away from.
Yeah, nice.
All right. Well, that pretty much is it for the old Season 4 patch notes and Season 4 news coming down the hatch. But as is tradition, when there's a new season, we get a new cinematic. And I believe, since you were kind of off the radar there, did you end up getting to see the new Season 4 cinematic for Warzone?
No, so this obviously wasn't the Modern Warfare reveal thing that we watched. This is totally different. This is for Season 4, different visual.
That's right. Season 4, I think it introduces Fortune Keep, if I remember correctly, but it's very well animated. There's some jungle shit going on. They're fighting these guys. They find like this downed plane and shit. And that's pretty much it. So again, it's a solid cinematic. It's continuing the story, but not making us angry and having to dedicate 20 minutes to like criticize it. So I'd say it's a win.
Sounds great. They've been pushing the level of their visual language and taste. Did you think that they've kept it up with that one? Did you like it? We've been very critical in the past, but of late we've been, a little more encouraging and encouraged. Would you say it was good?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, the animation quality, even compared to the Modern Warfare 2 launch trailer last week, I don't know if they're using different animators or what, but my God, the cinematics here for Vanguard are just incredible how realistic they look. The lighting, everything going on. This one takes place mostly at night, so there's a lot of cool stuff going on with fire in terms of the lighting, and there's sweat and
there's
ash
sweat.
and stuff.
Wow.
So pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
They're getting it going. So I say bravo, and hopefully Modern Warfare continues that. We don't go back off the fucking rails.
I agree. If they're listening, hire the same people that are making the videos for Warzone.
Yes. So anyways, in addition to, or speaking of campaigns and cinematics and storylines, last week we just got the worldwide reveal of Modern Warfare 2. We talked about it, how we're thirsty for more. We want the crumbs. Speaking of, we didn't get a slice of that pie or cake for that Fortune's Keep reveal. So give us some
We didn't? I
fucking
thought you said
crumbs
we
here.
did. I thought we got a slice of cake. I was just out of town.
You had assumed so, but your boy didn't get so much as some fucking crumbs.
Wow, that's bullshit.
But that's neither here nor there. The big news, though, with that, which, I mean, with all this stuff going on, it would have been the top line item. But that is, they finally did a reveal of the gameplay of the new Modern Warfare, which it was not multiplayer, disappointingly a little bit. But it was kind of, as we had figured, it was going to be a little campaign reveal. So they played through a campaign mission, took place at night. The squad's like doing a siege on this boat, this big ship. Again, you probably didn't fucking see it, so we can't talk about it too much, but we finally got to see Modern Warfare 2, and the takeaway was it kind of really just looks like Modern Warfare 19.
It feels exactly the same, basically, maybe a little crisper.
I mean, again, it was a nighttime mission, so you couldn't see a ton. There was no new mechanics, like they did mounting again. There was clearly some new maybe gun animations and a little polish, but nothing new showed off. And the main takeaway for me is the guy playing it, holy fuck, if there's ever a disconnect between how the player base plays and how they envision it, it was clearly stark. This guy's so slow, didn't tactical sprint ever, just moving, slowly bringing his cursor, no centering, to speak of at all. So maybe the guy playing that walkthrough should be listening to this podcast, because he seemed beyond an amateur.
Well, he's welcome to listen. Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't have. Why wouldn't they get some fucking great big time name streamer or something to do it, so it draws a little bit more attention? It seems like a no-brainer.
I don't know, but all the big streamers were watching, commenting on it. Some impressed, others, kind of like us, needing to see more, which, okay, we talk about ticking the boxes as usually it goes, is they have the worldwide reveal, which is the snazzy trailer, which we got, check that box. Then they have the campaign reveal, check that box. Well, next up, we better be seeing some, multiplayer footage and also like gunsmith new shit footage. Like that's next on the docket.
Cool. I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited to jump into this brand new map. I'm a little sad Rebirth's going away, but I gotta say it's gonna be a cool situation. We're gonna have 3 maps to choose from, which we've talked about. It is gonna happen. So help me God, we're gonna have another custom game before all this goes away. So, we might have to do like 1 game of each here, just cycle through. That's gonna be a lot of time there.
Oh, man. I am into it. It sounds like it's going to be a headache getting it all together, jumping from lobby to lobby, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Well, that's really it for our news and discussion this week, but we're going to end with, we received, it's a few weeks old, but we had an excellent either Discord user or YouTube user reach out to us and make a request, and they said, if you could please talk about an overview of your controller sensitivity, that would be cool. And I know we've dove into this before, but just to quickly run down, your boys' controller setups, which I did actually make some recent changes, running bumper jumper tactical. I got the invert look to airplane only. I got my horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity. I bumped those up to 8 this week, and I'm kind of haven't been looking back on that. So in terms of,
wow,
this was BIB asked if you're out there. I'm running 8 there, but in terms of the ADS sensitivity with that, 8 and 8. So the horizontal stick, I don't know if I captured my ADS sensitivity. Do you know what sticks you're running these days?
Dude, I have no fucking idea, and I haven't changed them since I started playing, which maybe is something I should do. The only change that I've made to my, not sensitivity, but my controller settings would be that I went to bumper jumper tactical based off your recommendation, which now is second nature to me, and I can't even fucking remember what it was like beforehand. It didn't take me long to make that transition, but I do like it more because it's easier to do the old the slide cancel sprint technique. So, but I don't know what I think I'm in a 0.7 or 0.8 area as well. That sounds familiar. It's 0.6 to 0.8. Maybe it's I think it's 0.7 actually. What were you before you made the switch to 0.8?
Well, no. So this is just the looking around stick sensitivity. I'm at 8. That's just in increments of 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. It had been 6 early on, then moved to 7 this past week. Now up at 8. Unfortunately, BIB, I did not even do a screenshot of my actual ADS, sensies. So I apologize for that, but part of the reason I wanted to talk about this is weeks back I had been lamenting that there was this issue, which I guess it was only with the Blixen early on. It would fuck with your tactical sprint, but I said I was experiencing it with other weapons. And Cowboy, you probably heard me many times this past week saying something's wrong with my tactical sprint. My shit is fucked up. I couldn't sprint right. Oh yeah, you were saying that all the time, yeah. Yeah, and I finally discovered, I'm pretty sure it's my thumbstick on my PS5 is starting to go, and I was ready to buy a new controller, really at times ready to walk away from Warzone because it was becoming debilitating. But I made a little bit of a breakthrough, which the heavens shone down. I don't even know how I discovered this tip. It randomly happened while I was playing, I was dead in between games looking at something, and they're like, hey, I think it was a Call of Duty tweet from Raven. They're like, did you know about our accessibility tools? We have this thing called thumbstick sensitivity. Thumbstick threshold is what it's called. This is a new thing. I don't think it was originally in Warzone. It's in there now under your controls. And so what I did is I took my left thumbstick threshold and scaled that down from 100, which essentially means how much input do you have to give that thumbstick before it registers as full go. And not only was I able to fix this sprinting issue, but I feel like this is a fucking game changer for controllers, because if you make that threshold lower, essentially you can get into sprinting faster by just brushing the stick forward. Your guy automatically kind of launches into it. Do you grasp what I'm putting down here?
No, yeah, Cowboy? I totally understand. Yeah, it's like a noise gate. Once you break through, it lets you go. So you're lowering that baseline. So that's great. I got to check what mine is actually now that you mention it.
Because you think about, this game's so much about minor, fractions and fractions of seconds. The time it might take you to take that stick from center all the way forward to make contact, with the up top, if you shorten that distance, which you can do effectively by messing with this thing, you can kind of save a little time. So yeah, I've fixed the problem, and I've since, I think, improved my shit.
Nice. That's exciting. So you playing better now, or is it just, nice to know?
Back to kind of where I was. Again, the sweat level we talked about last week, it's really hitting highs, but we'll see about Fortune's Keep. Maybe we can split up the sweats a little bit more, get them back on Caldera. We've yet to see that.
That would be nice.
And finally, in terms of controller, no official news, but the old Call of Duty leaker, or just gaming leaker in general, Tom Henderson said apparently PlayStation's going to be unveiling a pro controller which could feature, among other things, paddles on the back. What do you think about that, Cowboy?
That would be cool. That'd be something I'd be into.
I think I'm 100% getting it if they do it. I mean, unless the price point's outrageous, like I'm ready to take the next step and become a paddle bro.
Wow, just slapping the paddles.
I mean, you were in frat back in college. Like, you can relate, right, baby?
Good one. Yes, 100%.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast, the last Warzone podcast of Vanguard Season 3, and only days away, if you're listening to this when it releases, from Season 4, from a new map, from new equipment, new vehicles, new guns, new hope for what the future might bring. How are you feeling going into this week, Cowboy?
Feeling good. Yeah, I mean, this is a little overwhelming. I got a lot of research and work to do this week. I had no idea that we were all the way here, so I'm very excited. What about you?
I'm fully, masted, torqued. I got a 3-day weekend, I think. I guess that won't be Season 4 entitled, but, we got 4th of July coming up. Might have some extra Warzone time on the horizon, but fired up for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
All right. Well, as always, so much happening. We want to hear your thoughts, your first impressions. Tweet at us, join our Discord, leave comments on our YouTube. As always, like, subscribe, give us that action. We will talk to you next week. And until then,
good luck in the gulag.